Welcome back, everyone. We are back with 3 startups ready to present their 5-minute pitch to the jury. And again, after those 5 minutes, it's time for the jury's Q&A. So far, we've seen very high quality pitches and it's very entertaining to watch. Jury, ready as well? Then I'd say, let's go. Confocal.nl develops and sells upgrades modules for microscopes based on rescan innovation, RCM. The upgrade uses a very sensitive sensor, making the images sharper and expanding the range of colors that microscopes can detect. Please welcome for this pitch, Marilise Tark-Dama. Go ahead. There you are. I think you're muted. I think your microphone is still off. That's why we can't hear you.
Yes.
Yes, there you go.
Is this better? Good. I'm sorry. Good morning, everyone. This is Marilise Tark from Confocal.nl, the Dutch microscopy company. I will tell you how we as a company expand from serving science to saving lives. We all agree that microscopy has allowed us to make many discoveries. Undoubtedly, it continues to do so, but in order to take a step further and save lives, we need smarter microscopes. Confocal.nl uses patented technology to make microscopes smarter. We have gained a strong position in the life sciences as our microscopes allow to better study what happens in a cell without killing it by light. Our microscopes have super resolution and superior sensitivity. Using our innovative RCM infrared technology, we can move from looking at cells or features within the cells to analyzing complex 3D structures, organoids, and tissues. The technology enables to analyze deep tissues fast at a superior resolution and sensitivity. Fast deep tissue analysis is a need for critical cancer surgeries where decision-making is complex. Our aim is to improve post-surgery patient survival by bringing our microscope to the operation room. Our niche is in assisting fluorescent-guided surgeries, increasingly popular as providing clear visual cues on cancer tissue for the surgeon. Immediate assistance for these surgeries is today provided by pathologists analyzing tissue that is first flash frozen, then cut, and then newly stained. Surgeon will get an answer to his or her question in 20 minutes. Our technology enables to reduce the workflow to 3 minutes by immediate analysis of the sample under the microscope in the operation room. Decision-making is faster, but also simpler due to improved dialogue between the surgeon and the pathologist, as they both look at the same signal, surgeon at macro and pathologist at the micro level. Extreme need for such fast solution is for tumors that are close to vital organs, such as head-neck area tumors. By estimate, there are 720,000 head-neck tumor surgeries worldwide every year. In 90% of these cases, surgeon doubts in the decision of cutting enough tumor tissue. Using our fast deep tissue imaging technology, we can help in such decision-making. Any improvement on today's situation will save lives and save money by reducing the time of the operation room usage. By bringing Confocal.nl technology to the medical market is a challenge. It's a challenge that builds upon our current success, offering smart microscopes with improved speed, sensitivity, and resolution. In life science market, we operate as an upgrade solution next to well-known market leaders. In the medical imaging market, we will actually generate our own niche, smart microscopes for intraoperative pathology. How do we do this? By building on current success. In life sciences, we have a strong customer base and global sales and service. In medical imaging, we will start close to our home in the Netherlands, as this is the highly important market in terms of fluorescent-guided surgeries. After initial key opinion leader partnerships and product improvement cycle, we will roll out to EU, US, and Asia. For Confocal.nl as a company, this expansion to medical important is a crucial step and strategic need for further strong growth. entry to the medical imaging market will be supported by stable growth in the life sciences market. For saving lives by bringing microscopy to the operation room, we have a funding need of 4.6 million for coming 3 years. This will cover the costs of adapting the technology to the operation room needs. Testing and feedback at the key opinion leaders in the Netherlands, as well as rollouts to the further locations. Support us by bringing microscopy to saving lives. I have convinced you that we have the technology and there's an urgent need. We have more than that. Confocal.nl is a team of experts that can make the dreams reality. Thank you.
Well done, Marilise, on your pitch for Confocal.nl. Let's move to the jury and see if there's any questions for you.
Hi, Aidan Flanagan here. I was just unsure as to where you're actually using this. Is this on a desktop beside the surgeon, which, you know, a lot of times a pathologist is there using it, or are you actually looking at the surgical site? How has this been used?
Thank you. This is a very good question. So where we are located in our operation room is next to the surgeon. So not during the surgery, but in the same room or adjacent room next to the surgery table, looking at not directly at the patient, but the tissue already removed.
So
from
biopsy samples.
Yeah, biopsy site, yes.
Okay.
Any more questions for Marilise?
Yeah, please. So just to be clear, your technology is not going to be guiding the surgeon which part of the tissue he should be removing. You're not competing with that technology, or are you? In which case, surely some more traditional dye-based approaches are much more helpful for the surgeon, rather than using all the kit and paraphernalia associated with a confocal microscope. Or have I missed the point totally?
I would like to take this question to my colleague Peter Drent, who's an expert in imaging and microscopy, and I think he is the best person to answer to that question. Peter, can you do this, please?
Let me try. So the kit the surgeon is using is kind of a macro imaging system. So he already can work on the screen, and he's using fluorescent dyes. There are 3 dyes, fluorescent dyes, FDA approved. So he's using that, but the resolution level of his macro camera is not enough to make decisions on the cellular level. So he needs to have reassurance. So he's making a biopsy, then he's handing that over to the pathologist, and the pathologist can look on the microscope at the cellular or subcellular level. So that's why he can give the feedback to the surgeon.
Okay, I think I've got it. So it's basically a collaborative process between the pathologist and the surgeon to guide the surgeon what he should do next.
Correct.
Fine, got it.
And normally this second opinion takes time, 20 minutes. And we can reduce that time now to 3 minutes because they work with the same dye and next to each other.
Okay. And is it a process innovation, or do we have IP as well on the device itself?
So whether we have an IP on ourselves, so we have patents related to the technology, to the imaging technology, and definitely we see more IP for us coming from this this project, this development.
Marilise, yes, one quick question. What's the competitive landscape here also in terms of emerging technologies from others, in particular also maybe the big ones in the field?
That's a very good question. So as I mentioned, that we are in principle generating the niche, but there's definitely an competition there as well. So Peter, I would like to direct this question again to you.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. You know, we have actually another advantage is that we improve the resolution. You know, our rescan technology improves the resolution with 40%. And on the other hand, also we are camera-based systems. Cameras can be very sensitive in the infrared. So traditional 3D microscopes, confocal microscopes, are based on photomultiplier tubes, and they are not sensitive in the infrared. So we can combine 2 advantages, improving the resolution and being sensitive to have the competitive advantage on competition.
All right, is there anything else that the jury would like?
What exactly are you selling? Is it a piece of capital equipment, the full microscope, or is it an add-on to existing confocal microscopes?
At this moment, we are an add-on. So in the life science business, we have an add-on. To bring it to the operation theater, we want to box it into one instrument.
And how much is it going to cost?
To make this box, we estimate about two years' work.
No, but how much is the final product going to cost the hospital?
Final product. At the moment, we are targeting 260K.
I'd like to have time for one more question. Todd. Go ahead. Todd Snowden, I thought you had a question.
Yes. What's the regulatory pathway?
The regulatory, yes. So that's a very good question indeed. Yes.
And we have to keep it brief because we're right at the 5 minutes.
So it's imaging. It's an imaging system. So it's the same regulatory pathway as a microscope.
Okay, and with that, we'll conclude our jury round. Thank you so much, Marlies and Peter as well. Well done on your pitch. Now, Confocal is making microscopes smarter and better and actually moving them into the operation room. And that is important mainly for cancer patients to make sure that should there be any tissue cut away, they can immediately check if they are clean and they can move on in the process. Now, the jury is scoring the pitch, and in the meantime, we're moving on to the next one. It's time for Criam. The team has developed a portable point-of-care diagnostic platform providing rapid blood analysis thanks to machine learning and computer vision technology. The device is faster and more affordable than in-house hospital diagnostics, while maintaining the accuracy of 99.77%. That is a lot. Presenting for Criam is Vitor Crespo. Vitor, go ahead and good luck.
Thank you very much. Let me see. Yes. So hello, we are Criam. Criam stands for Chemical Reaction and Image Analysis for Mobility. So we can basically detect every visible reaction you can think of in a portable and automatic way. We started by blood because of the huge need and the huge market worldwide. Our beachhead market is blood typing. And why is that so important? You know, every second someone in the world needs blood. Most of these cases, it's because of accidents. In a normal accident situation, you have two options. So you can use the O negative. O negative is the universal donor that you can give to anyone without the problems. However, it's very scarce and has huge costs for the healthcare ecosystem. So we are talking about billions of dollars. The normal way to do it is you take 16 minutes on average to take a person from the local of the accident to the hospital. And then you need an additional 40 minutes to do the blood type test and bring the results back. So it's still complicated and a process where every second counts. So that's why we have created a portable medical device that detects blood type in 3 minutes. It's at least 10 times faster than what exists right now, 5 times more affordable. It's portable, so we can do it anywhere. And with this, we are decreasing on negative dependency. We have a patent for the process and the hardware, but the real secret sauce is in the computer vision and machine learning algorithms. So we basically create cartridges like the one you are seeing already with antibodies and antigens, and then we are using our IP to detect the result of the test. Business model is very simple. So we can sell the device one shot, or we can give it away depending on the annual commitment for the number of cartridges. The other recurrent revenue stream is for the diagnostic algorithms. If the client wants more than one, the device can self-update over the internet or through ESP, and they can pay that in the software as a service model. So addressable market is huge. So just for the emergency area, we are talking about that is higher than $4 billion. And we can also go for military, governments, and NGOs. Of course, so we are creating a forecast here of half of the letters of intent that you currently have. And only with this, we have a payback period of 2.4 years. We are a medical device. We were accelerated by the biggest hardware accelerator in Silicon Valley. The name is Axe. They have a program in China where we were 6 months sponsored by Johnson & Johnson Innovation. After having the device, we're focusing and having market validation, and we have done more than 3,000 clinical trials or tests around the globe in hospital groups. Accuracy is 99.77, which is more than enough to handle FDA or CE mark, and is actually more accurate than the traditional gold standard that is 98.66. We have comfort letters from the hospital groups. The last one was from HCA, the biggest hospital group in the US. We also have this validated in distributors, international distributors that already sign the letters of intent. We have competitors, of course. We are talking about the big pharmaceutical companies worldwide. However, they can only do this in laboratories and hospitals. We are the only ones doing this for the point of care area. So as you have already understood, we are not just a blood type tester. We have a device as a platform approach that is all about creating cartridges and having the right reagents inside. And with that, we can go for diseases, supplements, and veterinary. We also have a big data play. We collect information about every test, and we can translate that to a world map where you can see the regions that have specific blood types, if an epidemic is spreading or not. We also can do integration with laboratory information management systems. We have a great team in place, so PhDs in biochemistry, regulatory experts, computer vision and machine learning. Myself, I have more than 20 years of management experience in multinationals like Accenture, Xerox, and Microsoft. And we have excellent board of advisors that help us to navigate the medical ecosystem. We just concluded our financing round. With this, we are going to handle the regulatory and the manufacturing and start delivering devices to the distributors that already signed the letters of intent. The first batch will be for Europe, and then we will go for the US and China. After that, we will handle the regulatory for the rest of the countries. So we have won lots of awards. I'm not going to bother you too much with this, but we have the Seal of Excellence of the European Union. We have won the Oxford Innovation Award and also the Fosun Worldwide for Healthcare. So in a nutshell, this is Criam. We want to monitor, control, and contain diseases worldwide. We are now looking for investors for the next round in 18 months in order to follow on to an existing investor that we already have committed for that stage. Thank you very much.
Well done, Vitor, and thank you for your pitch. Let's see, are there any questions from our jury? Who wants to start?
Aidan here. What is your business model? Is it a piece of capital equipment and disposable cartridges then, and how much do each cost? Or?
Yeah, razor blades. So basically, it's we have the device that we can sell, or if they give us enough commitment in an annual basis for the number of cartridges, we can give the device away. So the BOM cost for the device is less than $2,000. We are selling it for $16,000, or giving the financial incentives depending on the cartridges. For the cartridges, we are selling it now for $12.
I think I heard another question earlier.
Yeah, Vitor, so nice pitch. Thanks for that. Two questions. One is, do ambulances currently carry blood conserves? And second questions are paramedics, if they had the information, actually allowed to give blood transfusions?
Yes, so in countries like US, UK, and Australia, they are already using blood banks in the emergency vehicles. And this is a trend that will spread because the savings that this can bring to the healthcare ecosystem is huge. However, if they don't have it, so they can detect the result of the test on the local of the accident or in the way to the hospital. And with that, they can alert the hospital in order for them to be ready with the right blood type.
On that note, quick question: what is your most near-term sub-market segment where you see the highest desire to use a POC platform like yours?
So we have protocols now with the National Institute of Tropical Diseases in order to detect, imagine, malaria in some African countries and other kinds of diseases. So we can basically do multiple tests in the same device. We don't have to change the hardware. So all we need is enough blood samples contaminated with diseases in order for us to train new algorithms. And we already have a partnership that will grant us enough. So we can detect whatever we want in the point of care area.
On that note, sorry, just one second question. Fully understandable, but exactly for that potential multitude of options, what is your most pressing immediate market need which you want to serve?
Blood type is the low-hanging fruit. So it's the one that is ready, the one that we already have the clinical trials, and the one that we already have the financials in terms of the return of investment and the savings that we can bring to the ecosystem.
All right.
I have a question on the financials. You didn't actually tell us how much for an average situation, how much your test actually costs per test and how that compares with the equivalent test in a hospital?
So first of all, no one can do this in the point of care area. So the cost of a cartridge, so every test needs a new cartridge, is $12. So with this, that will be the cost for that specific test. And yes.
Let's move to Florian for the next question.
Just one quick question.
I believe Florian is, yeah.
If I remember my biology correctly, there's one blood type that you can actually administer to everybody.
O negative, it's the one I mentioned, yes. So, but it's very scarce.
So if you put that on the ambulance, why would you need a test?
Because it's very scarce and has huge costs for the healthcare ecosystem. So we are talking that less than 2.9% of people worldwide have that specific blood type. In a country like China, less than 0.3 have it. So they have to buy O negative worldwide in order to face emergency situations. So it's a really huge problem. If you go to the internet and you look for O negative shortages, you will understand it.
There is
Sorry.
time for one question or another question from you.
Sorry, you didn't give me the answer to the question that I asked. You told me how much your test was. You didn't tell me how much a blood test in a hospital costs.
Okay, so the hospital cannot do specific tests. So they do a whole bulk of tests. Imagine they have to do 40 or 50 in order to be efficient. That's why they take too long. So they are not suitable for emergency situations. The cost for the test in the best case scenario will be around $3.
Okay, so you're 4 times more expensive per test.
But we can do it in the point of care. So we are not competing with the traditional guys that do that on laboratories and hospitals.
But we all know that hospitals always look at the bottom line, the cash position. So anyhow, it's helpful.
No, but imagine, so if they can save on the blood inventory management, if giving the right blood, they will save a lot on that.
And with that, we have to conclude our jury round. Thank you so much, Vitor. Thank you, jury, for your questions. Yes, it is a solution made by Criam to make sure that at the location of, for instance, an emergency, there can be an analysis of blood and see what a patient needs. And they're cutting down the time from almost 40 minutes to 3 minutes. And that's, of course, a very unique innovation. If you want to meet this startup or any of the others, please visit our networking platform and just simply schedule meetings. We're moving on to our next speaker of the day, the next pitch. Our next startup, Gradient Denervation Technologies, is developing a minimally invasive approach for the treatment of pulmonary hypertension. Pulmonary hypertension is a devastating and rapidly evolving disease for which therapeutic options are available to only 15% of patients at most. Please welcome Cécile Dupont. Good luck, Cécile.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. So each year, millions of patients are diagnosed with pulmonary hypertension after they present with shortness of breath or signs of heart failure. It's a devastating, very rare disease, which is characterized by elevated blood pressure in the pulmonary artery that carries the blood from the heart to the lungs. It has a dramatic impact on prognosis and survival of patients, with a median survival rates of 7 to 9 years following the onset diagnosis. Therapeutic options are limited to 15% of the patients, with the 85% remaining in a therapeutic dead end. Recently, I think there is an issue with the, okay. Sorry for that. Recently, it's been demonstrated that patients with pulmonary hypertension do present an hyperactivity of pulmonary artery nerves, which contributes to increasing the pulmonary pressures. Based on these findings, several academic teams have tested different methods to alter this nervous overdrive with promising results on the reduction of the pulmonary pressures on the long term. At Gradient, we have developed a transformative approach to treat pulmonary hypertension. This approach is based on the intravascular, non-surgical thermal ablation of the pulmonary artery nerve, which are located in the artery wall through a simple right heart catheterization procedure. The ablation is performed via ultrasound to ensure safe and homogeneous ablation in less than 30 minutes. It is performed by the interventional cardiologist in the cath lab under light sedation, and the patient can go home the same day. Gradient is competing in a market which is solely served by pharmaceuticals today. By proposing an approach that's applicable to all forms of pulmonary hypertension with long-term effects after a single safe procedure, as opposed to pharmaceuticals, the Gradient technology is ideally positioned to disrupt this still untapped market. Gradient has also secured its pioneer position through a strong seminal IP position covering for a large spectrum of device embodiments and energy sources, creating a really high barrier to entry for potential competitors. Gradient represents a market opportunity of more than 1 billion euro, which will be achieved by targeting interventional cardiologists operating at pulmonary hypertension expert centers, where PH patients are referred for management and follow-up after their initial diagnosis. It represents a very concentrated market of 80 centers in the US and around 60 centers in Europe, accessible to a small company with a direct sales force with the marketing strategy directed towards key opinion leaders. Our plan is to initiate the commercialization of our technology in 2025 in the US after the regulatory approvals are obtained. The cost saving offered by our technology allow for premium pricing that we evaluate on around 7,000 euros for the disposable catheter, allowing to capture around 40% of the patients in the first 3 years of commercialization. Gradient was created early 2020 based on an invention from 2 US cardiologists from the University of Stanford. We've raised 3.5 million euros to get us through the first in human, and we are finalizing our prototyping phase and preclinical validation. We are currently initiating discussions with notified body and the FDA and are contemplating the breakthrough designation program from the FDA to accelerate our development in the US. We will then get ready for our first in human early 2022. We will then raise an A round to take us through additional clinical validation to support the project until its regulatory approval in 2025 and commercialization kickoff the same year. The company is operationally managed by an international team of experienced engineers and successful MedTech entrepreneurs, and we have surrounded ourselves with pulmonary hypertension experts, clinicians from the very beginning. At Gradient, we are dedicated to helping millions of patients around the world struggling with a devastating disease without therapeutic option. For the very first time, our technology brings hope to those patients by proposing a new, simple therapeutic option to help them resume normal life. Let us make it happen. Thank you.
Well done, Cecile, on your pitch. Let's see if the jury has any questions. Who would like to start? And maybe then we can move on to Marianne as well, because I know you have questions as well. Who would like to kick it off?
Hi, Aidan Flanagan here. I didn't actually see your device. Did you show a picture of it?
Yes.
I've been following this for a few years. So there was some clinical trials done in China. Was that part of this development?
So here's the device. So it's a catheter-based solution. So we have a denervation catheter, which is placed in the pulmonary artery through a simple right heart catheterization procedure. The energy source is ultrasound, which is different from the study you're referring to in China, which used radio frequency. The reason for choosing ultrasound is based on the safety and the depth of innervation, the nerves we're targeting being located quite deep in the pulmonary artery wall. And so using RF, you would damage the endothelium in the PA, and you wouldn't be able to target the really deep.
Is the IP, does that cover this ultrasound method?
Yeah. Absolutely. So the reason for choosing that project or this IP is that it's really seminal. So it covers for different kind of embodiments and for all energy sources. So not only ultrasound, but it also covers for RF, cryo, or even other more exotic energy sources.
Wonderful. Marianne, do you maybe have a question for Cecile?
Yeah, no, I passed this one. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to the next one then.
I have a question. Would it be not easier from a commercial perspective to try and roll this out in the US first and try and apply for a 510K? Because this is a class 2 device, or am I totally wrong?
No, it's a class 3 device. It's going to be a PMA. And so yes, we will be starting the commercialization in the US, as I mentioned, not necessarily in Europe, because we have the opportunity to fulfill the criteria, the eligibility criteria for a breakthrough designation in the US, which we are currently preparing, and which would dramatically accelerate our development to target that market initially. So yes, that's the plan.
Great, thank you. I might have missed that. Thank you very much. Interesting.
One quick question. Yes, I'm not too familiar with ultrasound as a therapy in this regard. Can you tell us a bit about the safety?
Yeah, so in terms of safety, ultrasound appears to be much safer than radiofrequency, because you have the ability to target a very specific range of ablation, meaning that you can spare, for example, the endothelium in our case, so not ablate the really inner part of the pulmonary artery wall, and it's also more specific than radiofrequency. So you have the ability with ultrasound to target the nerves while sparing other surrounding structures like the small vessels or even surrounding organs, which are very sensitive, like the esophagus, which is really close to the pulmonary artery wall.
Let's move to Todd for the next question.
Yes, in what model have you done your proof of principle?
So unfortunately for pulmonary hypertension, there is no good animal model. So we are just able to test the safety and the feasibility on animal, and the best suited animal for this technology and this pathology is the pig. So we are testing our technology on pig models.
So at this point, you don't actually know that this treats the problem.
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
You're right. It's just a proof of concept in terms of safety and feasibility, but there is no real way to treat the acute or chronic effectiveness of the procedure.
And so are they doing this denervation in another way right now that indicates that this is an effective therapy?
Yes. So for example, there is a good proof of concept, which is lung transplant, where you interrupt the nerves signal, and so that's one parameter we took into account when establishing the proof of concept. There is also a number of studies that have been published, as I mentioned, using different energy sources,
okay.
and in particular radiofrequency, and which shows that it works.
Great, thank you.
Okay, and with that, we conclude our 5 minutes with the jury, the Q&A. Well done, Cecile. Thank you, jury, as well, and good luck on scoring this pitch. Yeah, we heard from Gradient, and they're developing a solution for something that affects over 7 million people worldwide and doesn't really have a treatment at the moment. Something that could be lifelong, if there's treatment possible, suddenly becomes a 30-minute procedure, quite easy, and people can go home at the same day. So let's see where that innovation will take us.